Hi there, Lindia from Project Portfolio Office, and I'll be covering the Business Intelligence API with you today. So the BI API functionality gives you the ability to build your own reports and dashboards with PPO data, but using your BI tool of choice. So in this video, I'll be covering three important parts when it comes to using the BI API. The first being PPO functionality in terms of how to access the API and create the necessary API keys. And then part number 2 will be illustrating how to use a simple tool like Excel. And then part number 3 will be focused on a bit of a more sophisticated tool, PowerBI. So let's start with part 1, and this covers access to the BI API. So hovering over administration, under reporting, here you can see I do have access to the BI API. If you do not see this option under reporting, you can simply provide access under user groups. So I'm in the PPO administrator user group, and here you can see under Business Intelligence API, access has been provided. Okay, moving on to the BI API page, and this is where we now assign an API key for a user to use. Okay, so the first up is the API information. So you guys need to copy this API URL as you need it when you connect your BI tool to PPO. So I'm just going to pop that into a notepad on the side because we'll use it shortly. And then under API keys, it's important to note that you have the ability to add as many keys as possible. It just depends on who will be using the BI API in your organization. So I'm just going to click on add. You simply give it a name. I'm just going to say mine is reporting. And I'm going to submit. This little box will pop up saying the creation of the API key has been a success. But it's very important to keep your access key. So again, I'm copying it and I'm popping it into a notepad. And the same with your secret key. So the secret key is something that you'll only ever see once. So it's very important that you copy this and you store it in a safe place. I'm just going to pop it into my notepad for now. Okay, so that's the API keys. Just below that, we've got our export settings. So here you can see it's enabled, it's scheduled to run daily. The next export happens at 3 o'clock tomorrow morning. So just so that you are aware, the exports run once a day and it's literally 3 o'clock in the morning, so probably between 3 and 4. Then we have the options to select the entities, the data that we would like to use in terms of reporting on our or in our BI tools. So for the demonstration purposes, I've selected costs, issues, projects, and resources. Important to note, you'll see that you have the ability to either apply a global filter or disable it. So you just need to make sure that, the data that you want to work with, is it current data or historical data? Applying the global filter will just bring back all your active records, and it'll also make life easier for the person doing the BI reporting to work with your current data. Just a side note, if you cannot click to apply a global filter, that just means that your entity that you've selected does not have a global filter applied under administration and filters. To add an additional entity, you would simply just click into the entities box and select an entity that you would like to add to the list. So in submitting this, I'm going to be moving over to part 2, which is using a basic tool like Excel to connect to the BI API. Okay, so here I've flipped over to Excel just to show the part 2. We simply click on data, get data from other sources, and we always select from our data feed. The URL that we copied from PPO earlier, we can just copy and paste that. You just copy, pop it in there, click OK. Then we select basic, get our username and password, the password being the secret key. Then we me just put in the username, then the password, copy that and paste it in there. And connect. So this all depends on how much data you're trying to extract from PPO. It might take a couple of seconds, it might take a couple of minutes. So here you can see the data tables where I requested the data from. For the purpose of the demo, I'm just going to select projects. And on the right hand side here, you can now see all the data fields that has pulled from my project entity in PPO. So I'm just going to click on load. This then brings the project data into my Excel document. From here, I can use the basic PPO or Excel functionality by inserting a pivot table. So let me just do that. And then I can now select what I want to see. So I want to see a count of my projects by phase and status. So if I do this and status as a row, then I can use the basic functionality over here to insert a table. So let me just select this one over here. Here we go. So here you can see your phase on the right hand side. So it depends on what reporting it is you want to build. That is how easy it is to connect to the PPO BI API using Excel. What I'll be doing now is switching over to part 3, which is a short demonstration of PowerBI. So this is not at all featuring our capabilities in terms of building in PowerBI, but literally just to show you how to connect. So in PowerBI, you click on Get Data, and here you can see the option, same as with Excel, the OData feed. And then again, we just get our URL that we copy and paste in there. Click on OK. We then select basic. This then allows us to put in the username and password. Again, the password being the secret key. And you just copy the username, then the password, and pop that in there, and let the BI or Power BI tool connect with the data in PPO. So again, depending on how much data you're trying to pull from PPO, it might take a second, a couple of minutes. So again, I'm just going to select projects on the right hand side. Again, it just shows your preview, and I'm going to load the data. So here we just give it a minute or two to bring back the data. So you can see it's busy loading the data. It's creating a connection. We should almost be there. So there we go. The load has been completed. There's 16 projects. So what we then can do is within Power BI, start building reporting. So here on the right hand side, you can see is my data table with all of my fields in PPO. So here again, I can select one of the charts. So let's just select that. And then on the right hand side, I'm going to do the same thing with phase and status. So here's my phase. And here is my status. And I'm going to use my ID as the count. Let me just open this up a little bit. So here is a very basic table that I've built showing the phase by status. Once again, not showing off our Power BI capabilities, but more showing you how to connect to the BI API to build your own reporting within or using PPO data. Thanks for watching.